And now, live from our Smokehouse studio, it's time for Real Estate Jerky. All your real estate questions answered by our provocatively lean expert hosts. Edward Ed Parcaut, MBA, veteran, and president of Lending for Living. We'll give you something to chew on. Real Estate Jerky is on now.
That's my California.
Thanks for joining us here on Real Estate Jerky. I'm your host, Ed Parcaut, president of Lending for Living, along with Marlene Chaplin, my trusty sidekick and co-host. We're on the road and keeping you up to date on real estate and what's happening in our communities. Our studio is wherever we have a solid Wi-Fi connection, except for today, we're actually in my studio. And our fabulous engineer is Mike Murray and the rest of our supportive friends at iHeartMedia. We always bring you something to chew on here at Real Estate Jerky. Call or text me at 209-404-1915. Again, 209-404-1915, or you can email us at radio@realestatejerky. Hello, Marlene. What are we going to be talking about? Okay, let me turn the window. Hello, Marlene. We're going to be talking to one of our candidates for California Congress, District 5 in a bit, but what do you want to talk about today?
I thought you wanted to talk about sex.
Well, I don't want to talk about sex.
Yeah, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
No, but how
we're going to anyway.
So this is kind of the same thing you did on the Mike Douglas show to me.
I did. Yeah, because
so when you're talking sex, you're talking about some AB thing or something about abortion, I assume.
Yes, because you can't get babies without having sex. Can't.
No, there's this artificial insemination.
I know, but somebody's got to do something because you don't just stand there. I mean,
well, one side.
I've never seen a guy like that.
Haven't you seen Yellowstone and some of the other shows
No.
how they take care of the stud horses and then?
I did AI and they don't just stand around.
There's not
either.
just sex there.
Yeah,
so.
no, but that's Well,
anyway.
Yeah. Well,
and again, as I always say, in this whole stuff that you're going to talk about, I don't have a dog in the fight, or because I don't have a uterus. I don't tell other people what they should do with their body. That's not my part. That's how I believe. And everybody believes differently, and that's great. That's why we're a different nation, and we can do that, or we used to be able to have free speech and everything else.
But the issue here at hand is the Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization abortion case, and
is that the one that went to Supreme Court?
Correct. It's
okay.
It's been at.
I didn't know the name.
It's been at the Supreme Court for months, actually, and it's the number one case at the Supreme Court, and you haven't been hearing about it until recently when they leaked the document.
Right, but you understand that document doesn't mean that that's the way they're voting.
And that is what I want to deal with today, because we're not going to have the decision. And the reason for leaking the document was to put pressure on the Supreme Court and the rest of the world so that the decision they want, which is to continue to murder the most innocent of all human beings, which is a baby in the womb. And as some of our states have decided to do, and unfortunately the one that we live in, that you can decide to kill that baby even after it's born.
Well, that one didn't go through.
It did go through. You're wrong.
It's a law.
It did go through. Yeah. So in California, you can now kill your child after it's born.
For what reason?
No, any reason you want, because it's an inconvenience. So here's the thing I want to deal with today. I don't want to be about opinions. In the event that I believe Roe versus Wade is going to be abolished, because it is not a constitutional right to murder. In no other way, in no uncertain terms, have we ever, did the founding fathers or anyone want to turn this country into a murdering country?
Yeah, but
nowhere.
They had no idea about this.
Nowhere. No, I'm sorry. It's a human being. They did. So let me just say this. Why did it happen? Why did it come up? Why did we decide to start murdering babies? Why is that ever an option? Here's the thing.
Here's the rub.
Here's the thing. And I'm the resident woman, and I get to say, and you've already weighed in.
Yeah, I'll
very
shut up.
Strongly.
I'll shut up.
No, you don't have to shut up. You can ask, but here's the thing. What I want to say, I'm all about finding the answer to the actual real problem. And here's the real problem. Number one, praise God, the abolishment of treating abortion as a constitutional right. It's an answer to prayer. Number two, accountability. The people of the United States and the world have a responsibility to protect not only the unborn and newborns, but to create an environment for the mothers carrying these children who would have been too inconvenient to birth or raise options. That's been the problem. That's why we got to that place 50 years ago. And I don't mean welfare or throwing money at it. That's not the answer. So what most women need during an unplanned pregnancy, and yes, I'll admit right now on air that I was in that situation at one time. I'm not going to say which kid or any of that. What most women need during an unplanned pregnancy is a safe environment to carry that child and decide what to do with their child. And in the past, churches did that best. There's some still around like Bethany House, but we need many, many, many more. Just saying that you don't want abortion is not the only answer. And it never was. The answer is don't turn these mothers into pariah. Don't turn these teenage girls into second-class citizens or treat them like sluts because they got pregnant and all those other things. Number 3 on my list of what has to happen and why it's good to abolish Roe v. Wade. It's not a constitutional right to murder, but it is a constitutional right to support and treat everyone with dignity, including pregnant moms. And that's going to require a sacrifice. So I once heard that giving isn't giving unless it hurts. And so most of us think throwing a few bucks here and there is giving. It's not. This problem is not going to go away unless we give and we sacrifice. So we have to step up for these children. We have to step up for these moms that are carrying these kids. We have to really seriously step up. The foster system's broken. The option's a train wreck in this country. That all has to be fixed. And the only way it's going to fix it is if a lot of people have to sacrifice. There's going to be a lot of sacrifices that have to be made to stop sacrificing these children at the foot of inconvenience. That's, I think this is just the tip of the iceberg, really. And you're listening to Real Estate Jerky. This is a real estate show, but when you're talking real estate and you're talking homes, you're talking about families, and it's a passion that I have. Children of all and every family. It doesn't matter how you look to me, what color, what you hold up as your God, that doesn't matter. You're all important to me, and you're important to Ed. And if you have questions for Ed, and I hope that you do, you can reach out to Ed at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915, or visit lendingforliving.com, or email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. So Ed, thank you for letting me have that bit, but I think that it needed to be said. People are, they've hung their hat on one end of this, when I believe the solution is much, much bigger than just abolishing a law.
Okay, what are we talking about now?
Real estate, I hope. What's what's the answer, Ed? The real estate thing is so messed up right now. The interest rate.
Well, there's the thing about both of the things what you're talking about, what we're going to talk about next. The question is, there isn't one answer, right? Basically. All right. Just seeing what he said. All right. There isn't one answer for everything. There has to be different solutions for everything. And I think that's what we can talk about at another show or another time when it's not about real estate. But the most important thing right now about real estate is we don't have enough homes. I've said this many times. We got 14 million more households since 2007 and 3 million less houses. We have a problem. Rents are going up 5% every time your leases come due. We have some of the most expensive rents right now that you have ever seen. I mean, we're talking houses in like off of Rudio going for 2,000 plus a month for rent.
My neighborhood, there's houses for rent over there, $2,400.
That's cheap for your neighborhood.
$400.
That's cheap for your neighborhood.
It's great. I know. I mean, that is it's insane. It's like who can do that?
Oh, well, the problem is if you can't buy, you have to rent, and then we don't have enough places on either side, and that's the whole thing. We need somebody to get in to help us, actually legislate this so we can get affordable housing built. And then what I mean by affordable housing, I mean more housing. More.
We just need more.
Right. Not because no one's going to build a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, or a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house, or a 1-bed. That isn't cost effective. The way the lumber costs are, the way the other stuff costs are, the way the permits are, the way everything is, and it takes forever to build. That's just not cost effective. So they build the higher one. So we need these people to be able to go in and fix the older homes. So that's the starter home, right? And that AB whatever law that was coming through. Remember we talked about it for a minute. That one died on the floor.
Yeah.
So thank God.
So what's a new first time home buyer or I mean, what's good? What can you do right now? Reverse mortgage
Well, you
is a
can do
good
everything.
time.
I mean, everything's a good time. I mean, the other day I had, I do the lives and we talk about that. And I had Mike Kelly on and he was saying the perfect, we talked about it before. And he's like, the best time to buy is right now. Cause you know, the market, you know, the current house prices and you know where the interest rates are. You don't know where that's going to be in a month from now or a year from now. So if you can afford buy now, you know, we are going to hit a recession, right? The Fed met and they're going to do all the stuff that they've done. If you look at the last 14 times the Fed raised short-term interest rates, 11 of them ended in a recession.
Yep.
No soft landing except for there was 3 soft landings in 14. So you pretty much we're going to hit a recession and that's going to be sooner than later. So we're going to see rates go back down. So don't freak out on rates right now. Get the house because that's the value and move on and refinance in 6 months to a year once those rates drop again. Anyway, what's next?
What does it look like when the tide turns? What does that even mean? Questions or comments? Dial Ed at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915 or email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. So our next guest has actually been on a tide turning mission for years and can explain what turning the tide is and better yet, how to do it. So up next, Nathan Magsig, candidate for Mike, I'm going to redo that. Up next, Nathan Magsig, candidate for California Congress, District 5. So sit tight.
You can change the way you live out the rest of your life with our new reverse mortgage products from Lending for Living. Our loan limits are the highest available. Call us today at 209-846-9270 or visit lendingforliving.com.
And we're back. I'm Marlene Champlin, Ed's trusty sidekick here at Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, along with our awesome host. Yeah, that guy, Ed, the one I'm sidekick to. He's here. He didn't go anywhere during the break. So he's our MBA, our veteran, our president of Lending for Living. And joining us now, I'm really excited, is the candidate for California Congress, District 5. What a district. If you haven't looked, you need to. That's actually been, this guy's been turning the tide for a long time in the south part of our valley communities. I've known who he was, and now I've had the pleasure to get to actually know him. And now you do too. Nathan Magsig. Hi, Nathan.
Hello, Marlene. Thank you for having me on your show today.
All right, everybody, you need to repeat that. We didn't hear that, Nathan.
Yeah. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's good to be here today. Thank you for having me, Marlene.
Well, not just Marlene. I'm having you here too. It's not just Marlene.
Course, Ed,
I know everybody thinks it is.
It's good to see you too.
Says it's mine, and she takes it over all the time. Anyway, Nathan, I don't really know you myself. Marlene gets the advantage of talking to you ahead of time and getting to know what's going on with you. And first thing I want to question is, where is District 5?
So District 5, it's a new district that was drawn at the end of 2021. It consists of Fresno County, Madera County, Mariposa, Tuolumne, Calaveras, Amador, a part of El Dorado County, and a big chunk of Stanislaus County. So it's a very big district. It's a beautiful district, and I'm excited to be running in this district.
Do they leave any counties out?
Well, there are 58 counties in
they
California,
left
so
parts out.
50 out. Yeah.
It's just like, they make these districts so many different counties. So what's your political experience?
So
a lot of people might not know who you are.
Sure. I've had the pleasure of serving at the local level, both as a mayor and council member. I did that for 16 years in the city of Clovis. Currently, I'm on the board of supervisors. I'm in my 6th year, and I represent Eastern Fresno County on the board. So that's what I've done politically over the course of the last almost 22 years.
All right. What else have you done? You only run political, or do you have your own? Did you do other things?
Well, I'm a former youth pastor, grew up in the church, and then also I'm a licensed general contractor. I have my own company currently, but ran a construction company for 10 years, built workforce housing, and also was involved in energy programs, which I did for about 5.5 years as well. Supported a lot of different nonprofits, used to be on the board of the Boys and Girls Club. I did that for about 15 years. And also I've supported organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters, local rescue missions here. So very active in all aspects of business, nonprofits, and doing what I can to help people in disadvantaged communities.
All right. So if anybody can see me, they can't on here, but I'm a meat and potatoes kind of guy. That's why I have a gut. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of this. Why are you the one for this district?
You
what
know,
do you stand for? What are those, the different things that you, right?
So this is a new district, and every 10 years we have redistricting. And one of the reasons why I'm running for Congress right now is I feel like things have gotten worse, not better, over the course of the last 20 years. The national debt is in excess of $30 trillion right now. I look at the political divide we have in Washington, and there's not a whole lot of work getting done. I've got a record of building water storage facilities, working with local irrigation districts and cities. I also have a record of building workforce housing. You always hear politicians talking about the need for more housing, but really there are very few who've actually done it with their own hands. So when I was running a construction company, I did 140 different projects. So one thing I bring to the table is local experience, and then also I bring private sector experience to the table too. So these are things which I have that other electeds don't. And again, I feel like we are so divided right now. I'm compelled to run. So that's why I'm running.
Marlene, do you have anything you want to add in there before I keep going?
No, go on. I'll jump in at the break and get my moment.
All right.
I have been thoroughly admonished.
No, you haven't.
It's your show.
It's our show.
I'll shut up.
That's not going to happen. Anyway, you brought up housing, and everybody says we need to do this to, we need more affordable housing. What we need to do is build more housing. How can we build more housing in California with the current regulations and everything going on? It takes 20 to 25 years to build a housing tract. How can we get that out of the way?
So at the federal level, one thing that needs to change is the Endangered Species Act needs to be radically modified. Right now, our forests are burning to the ground, and we've got over 33 million acres of forest. If we took that woody material and actually used it to build or used it for building supplies, we would be able to have more abundance of materials and drive the cost of housing down. But for whatever reason, through environmental regulations and lawsuits, the last 50 years, we've been shuttering a lot of our sawmills. So what I would like to see happen is that whole industry come back, and we're solving multiple problems. We can restore our forests, create jobs, and have a lot more building materials available right here in the Central Valley. So I'm going to be very focused on that issue. But to me, it's low-hanging fruit. It's something that should have been done long ago, but nobody's talking about these issues, and we need to get a hold of those things now.
We're talking to our guest, Nathan Magsig, candidate for California Congress, District 5. You can reach out to Nathan with your questions and concerns at nathanmagsig.com. That's Nathan, just like, well, I'll spell it, Nathan. Magsig is MAGSIG.com. And you can email Nathan at nathanmagsig.com. If you've got questions for Ed or can't remember that whole part, you can just Google realestatejerky.com and we'll come up. You can get a hold of us or dial Ed's number 209-404-1915. He actually answers, or text him. That's a cell. I love that you're talking about the forest reforestation. It's billions of dollars. You guys are down there in the district where we had the creek fire. I mean, run those numbers. It seems maybe somebody out there listening might think, one of our friends out there would think, well, why is that a platform issue? Run it down for them, Nathan. I mean, it's pretty frightening when you think about and you hear the numbers.
Sure. So the creek fire happened in my district on September 4th of 2020. That fire ended up being the biggest fire in the state's history up until fire season last year. But that fire in my district burned over into Madera County and burned 400,000 acres. When it was all said and done, it cost $200 million just to fight that fire. The devastation that fire caused, it destroyed 850 structures, a lot of infrastructure, and another 300 million is what it's taking to rebuild all of that. So $500 million from that one fire. And we are seeing dozens of fires in our forest every year. And again, we only have 33 million acres of forest. And when you have fires like last year, there was a 1 million acre fire where complex fire, where multiple fires burned together, But when you lose basically 3% of your forests in one fire, something needs to be done. And we need to be taking this material out. We can be using it to generate electricity, create building supplies, but no one is talking about wanting to really revitalize our timber industry right here in California.
Well, they're too worried about, the electric cars.
Well, you got to generate electricity somehow. So for me, the argument I push back on a lot of these groups is we need an abundance of electricity, and we can be taking a lot of this woody material out of our forests. And in my county alone, we've got 26 million dead trees. They're either going to burn on their own, or we can take this woody material out, use it for building supplies, and use the excess to generate electricity. To me, I prefer the latter option.
And they need to go through and thin our forest anyway. That's how that's the one thing we don't do because of the Sierra Club, all those other people who, we're worried about this, but let's just burn them and not worry. That's what it's just amazes me how bad our forests are, and they don't want us to take care of them. And we all know if you don't take care of something, it's just going to burn. And that's what happens.
So there is an animal right now called the Pacific fisher, and we have different groups filing lawsuits against the U.S. Forest Service to stop fuel reduction projects. So we have many communities that were saved, even in the face of the Creek Fire, because CAL FIRE, as well as the U.S. Forest Service firefighting groups, did a great job saving many of our communities. But there is work that needs to be done. And right now there are groups suing to stop a lot of these fuel reduction projects because they say they're trying to protect the Pacific fisher. But that is a ridiculous argument, because actually when we thin the forest, it reduces the intensity of fires. That's how we need to be preserving habitat and taking care of our animals.
You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV, and we're talking to Nathan Magsig, candidate for California Congress, District 5. That's most of us listening in the Signal area, but not all of us. So if you don't know which district you're in, this is your chance to figure it out. If you visit nathanmagsig.com, Nathan's got a groovy little map on his homepage that will show you exactly where our District 5 runs. And believe it or not, it splits Modesto, the city, not down the middle, but almost down the middle. So it's kind of a ridiculous thing, but it is what it is. And we keep telling you we're here to educate you and help you so that you can vote well. I would say vote often, but I'm not Mark Twain. But vote well and vote educated, and that's the way you do it. When we come back, we're going to find out what Nathan thinks about solving the affordable housing problem. I think his management force is brilliant, but the affordable housing in California. And our host, Ed Parcaut, will be here to solve your home loan issues. Wow, sounds like Ed finally broke out his crystal ball too. So there's a lot of solutions here. Better stay right where you are.
Our new reverse mortgage product limits can change the way you live out the rest of your life.
And we're back here at Real Estate Jerky on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. I'm Marlene Champlin, trusty sidekick to our amazing host, Ed Parcaut, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living, and our guest, Nathan Magsig, candidate for California Congress District 5. So Nathan, did you hear the bus motor start? No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't throw anybody under the bus. Not even you guys. Actually, for us politicians go, you're probably the least politico, because I got a penchant for contractors anyway. I like it. And I like that you did that project. I told my son after we talked down in Delray. So a lot of you know that my kids are spread all over the place. And one of my sons is actually farming and does business down in Nathan's neck of the woods. So we want to know some strategies about affordable housing in California, especially here in our district, District 5. So expand away, please.
Yeah, so really the solution to affordable housing is abundance. And what I mean by abundance is we need a lot more materials to be building our homes. Right now, we ship a lot of our timber in from neighboring states and even neighboring countries. And really, we don't need to be doing that. We have some of the most rich resources right here in our backyard. And our forests support millions upon millions of trees, and they are in an unhealthy condition right now. So I spent over 10 years building workforce housing, did 140 different projects. I've subdivided land. And when I was doing this in the early 2000s, it was difficult then, but I take a look now at, many developers are waiting years just to be able to put a shovel in the ground to begin to construct housing. So we're way overregulated. We don't have enough materials, and the materials we do have are very expensive. And so we need to be using the resources that are right here in California to help us bring the cost down and really raise up the abundance. Many politicians talk about wanting to throw money at the problem, but all you're doing is supplanting people who currently live in housing that don't need subsidies, and you're not creating more of a supply of housing. So what I want to do is I want to reduce regulation. I want to create more access to materials, and just looking at economics, that will drive the cost of housing down. And so I want to create abundance. I don't want to create more programs.
Yeah, we need a program kind of, and I know you don't want to make more programs, but what I'm getting at, something like a workforce one when we did back in the 40s and 50s, and when everybody came back, we need that for housing, right? We need to come together and just for the next 10 years, this is what we're going to do, because we have 14 million more households since 2007 and 3 million less houses. You do the math. We're not going to get out of this soon unless we start building a lot of houses. And that's what we need to do, because we're going to make it to a point where in California, 70% of the people will rent because they can't afford to own.
Yeah, and really the key to wealth is being able to own your own home, because as soon as you move into a home, you begin to generate equity. And when you have a fixed mortgage, that fixed mortgage allows you to have some certainty about what your payments are going to be. Or when you're renting an apartment, you may see your rents rise anywhere from 3 to 5%, or maybe even a little bit more year after year, and there's no equity being built. So home ownership is the cornerstone to building wealth for many blue collar families.
I agree. I've heard that somewhere else before. How about you, Marlene?
I think that's what Nathan, I think, yeah, we do. I do advertising, and I'm at agency, and that's his lending for living, building personal wealth through home ownership. That's his slogan. You worked a lot with Habitat for Humanity, and I like that about you because I like that program a lot. I sat on the board up here for Stanislaus County for a number of years, and not that we're saying, or that I'm even saying that that's the kind of a program we need here with the sweat equity, but we need a program like that. We need, and I think I like what you're talking about is basically doing similar things in addition to the simple fact of let's get logging again instead of burning. Let's log these things. Billions of dollars of building materials up in smoke.
Yep.
Yeah.
Billions. We're not talking billions of dollars up in smoke over the last 10 years.
And in addition to that, you take a look at many of our watershed. And so when these massive fires come through, it destroys everything. And then you get a lot of sedimentation that flows into our rivers, pollutes rivers, damages our waterways, hurts habitat. So we are not being very good stewards. But back to the housing component, looking at Habitat. Habitat does great work. The organization that I ran was called the Coalition for Urban Renewal Excellence. And as we built this, the workforce housing, we gave equity to people so they didn't have to pay for mortgage insurance when they got into a home, because sometimes that can be a barrier. So again, our whole goal through the efforts and these different projects that I did for over 10 years was to help people build wealth. And I still meet people to this day who are recipients of some of our homes, and they've told me that they've moved 2 or 3 times since then, and that they've been able to build wealth, and it really helped them grow their families. And to me, it puts a smile on my face, because that's progress.
We're talking to our guest, Nathan Magsig, candidate for Congress, California Congress, District 5. That's us. That's the new district. You can reach out to Nathan with your questions and concerns at nathanmagsig.com. That's Nathan, Nathan, Magsig, Magsig.com. And you can email Nathan at nathanmagsig.com. And if you've got questions for Ed, reach out by dialing 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915. Reach out to lendingforliving.com, or you can email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. You know, I told you how fast this goes. Can you believe we're on your last run here? There's some things about you as well. Personal things. You're married. Tell us, you've got this great family. And tell us a little bit about that. And
Sure. Well, I'll tell you a little bit about my life's journey. So I grew up in the church. My father was a pastor, but I experienced some tremendous tragedies in my own life. My parents divorced. My father passed away in an accident just a couple years after that, and I found myself kind of on my own. But God opened doors for me early on. And yes, I am married. I've been married for over 20 years. I have 3 beautiful sons. And so in life, the journey that all of us are on, we experience pain and suffering, but God has shown me that I can take this suffering and relate better to others who might be going through similar situations. And so I really give God all the glory, but I've been blessed beyond what I deserve. My 3 sons are 18, 16, and 14. God brought me my wife 25 years ago. We dated for about 4.5 years, and we'll be celebrating 21 years of marriage here this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I love your story.
Right. During this whole thing, our engineer was asking some questions, and his question is, what are you doing to get name recognition in the North Valley and Stanislaus County?
Yeah, so I have spent a lot of time in Stanislaus County. I'm up there 2 to 3 times a week, meeting with different groups. We've had community meetings, small town hall meetings. Some of you may have seen my signs that have already gone up. We have advertising that we've just started to roll out. So more and more of your viewers are going to continue to see advertising of mine, mailers that we're sending out. Some exciting announcements. I haven't even talked about some of the endorsements I have, but Sheriff Dirksey has endorsed me there in Stanislaus County. Vito Chiesa, who is an incredible supervisor there, he's endorsed me. Kristen Olson, Michael France, and many, many other people have endorsed me from that community. So I'm getting a lot of local electeds that are coming on board after they hear my story, things that I want to do, and they understand my background. They recognize that I can do the most good in Washington for this new district. And I'm local. I'm from the Valley. And so I relate to a lot of the issues of your listeners and viewers right there in Stanislaus County.
All right. I think the biggest thing with you is the housing background that you have, because that's our number one issue besides, okay, we have water, fires, homeless, but a couple of those we can't fix. And then we have the housing that we can fix really easily. Especially if we thin the trees, then there's less water being used to water, those trees. It's going back in the ground, and a lot of other things we can do. So I see that the housing is that part of it for me with you is important if you're going to DC.
On the homeless issue, one thing I want to point out too, so I'm the point person for Fresno County on homelessness, and we've created a 7-point plan working with all of our 15 cities in Fresno County, and we're working with our neighboring county, Madera County. And so we're trying to make homeless better, and so they don't have to continue to rely on government services. But about 15 years ago, I was part of building a homeless facility for women and children, and many of which were battered as well. Nothing like that existed in the Central Valley, and it has served thousands of women and children today. I was on the Capitol campaign team to build this with the Fresno Rescue Mission. We started that project in 2008 during the recession. Our goal was to raise $15 million. God provided everything. And again, I've had an opportunity to work directly with homeless. And so I have a lot of these local connections that a lot of the other people who are running in this race just don't.
All right.
Wow. Hey, thanks so much for listening to Real Estate Jerky and our amazing guest, Nathan Magsig, candidate for California Congress, District 5. If you don't know about Nathan, you can reach out and via email nathan@nathanmagsig.com. Visit his web, which has got a lot of great information. And again, as I mentioned before, if you don't know what district you're in, because it did split Modesto, you can go to Nathan's website, nathanmagsig.com, and you can see his the district there. And you'll get an opportunity to listen to Nathan ask questions direct this Thursday, May 19th at 11 o'clock on Real Estate Jerky Live on Facebook. So just visit Real Estate Jerky Live on Facebook this Thursday at 11 a.m. and you can ask him in real time. So thanks so much. And we're not going to worry about a lot of other things. I don't know why I have this on here. What Ed's having for dinner? No, we don't care about that.
Idea.
There's so much really cool, fun, and important stuff going on in the world, and right here in Stanislaus County, South San Joaquin, than a lot of the things you can find on Facebook. But we just definitely want you there for Real Estate Jerky Live. So maybe on the next segment, we'll talk some more about what we're going to do on that, what we do on Real Estate Jerky Live, what Ed does. Nathan, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Ed, Marlene. I appreciate the opportunity.
You can change the way you live out the rest of your life with our new reverse mortgage products from Lending for Living. Our loan limits are the highest available. Call us today at 209-846-9270 or visit lendingforliving.com.
And we're back. I'm Marlene Champlin, trustee sidekick to our amazing host, Ed Parcaut, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living. Ed's ready for your questions. So reach out to him at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915. I have to remember this. You know, we have some of our friends out there that don't call you Ed, but they will email or text us via Facebook. And they wanted to, our Philip. So hi, Philip. He wanted me to tell you, Ed, that he really enjoyed the graffiti show.
Good. I'm glad.
And he wants you to come to the United Cerebral Palsy Sips and Treasures.
Yeah, he texted me. Yeah, he texted me. Don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll do my best. I just don't know where I am in September right now.
So
hold on. How's Marlene doing?
I'm fabulous.
Okay, just checking.
I'm fabulous. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I'm not getting sick or anything, or I don't know how that happened for me. I didn't get COVID. I don't know, through this whole thing.
Or you got it and you're asymptomatic, one of those two.
I don't.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of people. I mean, because for me, I afterwards I had a sinus infection, so I don't really know if I had COVID and I was asymptomatic and I had allergies, because I've been having really bad allergies this year anyway. And then I had a sinus infection, had to take antibiotics, and so I was miserable for the next 10 days. We'll just leave it at that.
I don't know. I just decided maybe God gave me a pass for a little bit, because
you've been through enough.
I got really sick. Remember how sick I was for all the months after Alan died? I mean, sick. I got 2 rounds of antibiotics. It was horrible. I was so sick. And then I don't know, once I got over that, now I'm just fat.
Aren't we all? I remember when the joke was, hey, it's called COVID-19, right? Because you add on at least 19 pounds, right?
Oh man,
I'm COVID 54, but we won't go there.
Yeah, but so I like Nathan.
Mm-hmm.
I like Tom McClintock as well. I think he's done a good job, and he's the one that's running in this district as well.
Right. Question for you.
Uh-huh.
So what part of Modesto is in this district? Do you know?
You know what they did? They split it.
Is it downtown one? Is that the one downtown?
Downtown, we're still in my side of town, the north end of town. What they did is they did, so west side is not. South Modesto is not. District 5. Yeah, that's what they did.
No, I just was trying to understand, because we go through all these all the time, but then I forget what part is me and not me, because they're doing this for a reason, to get everybody confused, so that you don't get out and vote.
Yeah, and you need to vote.
Yeah,
This is not.
This is all right. So this right now, we need you out to vote more than any other time in history.
Amen.
And because
Period.
if you don't get out and vote and say the way you feel through your voting, through policies and not personalities and all the other things, you're going to be wishing you did, because we're going to run into some other issues. So we need to have our voice heard this year, whatever that is. Most of us are in the middle, whatever that is, just get out there. Even if you don't agree the same way I do, I still need you to get out and vote, because I want you to vote, not somebody else voting for you.
We said this before. We said this at the last election. We said, this is imperative. You must vote. And once again, the conservative votes were off over 40%. You have no one to blame at that point.
No. I just wish the conservative dead people would vote.
Are you reminding me of what happened? So Alan dies right before the election, right? October.
Yeah.
And we were always absentee ballot, and his ballot came. And it was sitting on the counter, and I could hear him, do it, vote, fill it out.
It seems like nobody who passed away ever votes Republican. They only vote Democrat. So I don't know how we get more of those people to vote Republican, but we need to. And I'm just saying it needs to be fair. You know, there's no fair election anymore, right? Most people think it's taken. I'm not going to get into the conspiracy stuff. However, the issue is you need to go out and make sure you vote, or you at least mail in your ballot the way you want to vote, and make sure you read everything. And if you don't understand it, find somebody that does, or don't vote for it.
You're listening to Real Estate Jerky here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. I'm Marlene Champlin, trusty sidekick to our host, Ed Parcaut, MBA veteran and president of Lending for Living. You can reach out to Ed with questions and comments at 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915. Or you can visit lendingforliving.com, or you can email us at radio@realestatejerky.com. We always appreciate it when you do. Let's go back to the thing you're talking about, voting. You know, a lot of people have a problem with voting by mail-in. And here's the deal. You can still take your ballot in. You don't have to mail it if you don't want to mail it. You can take it in to voting centers. There's collection centers. I've been an absentee ballot voter for years because of my crazy schedule. Sometimes getting in to vote has always been a challenge.
Yeah, because I mean, some people say you go vote in person, right? That's how you should do it. Well,
that didn't matter with the fraudulent cases that are in fact real. They are not conspiracy. They really did happen. There's video. There's cases that are still open. There's stuff. There's going to be some people get prosecuted. I mean, that stuff's real. It really happened, and it didn't matter whether it was in person or by mail. The problem is you got to get out there and vote.
Right. Don't complain if you're not voting.
Well, yeah, I mean,
get out there and vote.
Yeah,
especially if you're a woman. I cannot believe women who don't vote in this day and age.
They're the highest percentage of non-voters.
Believe
it or not, it's Christian women. Women. I can't
people
believe
burn bras during that period of time to get the right to vote and other things. So, and then they don't go and vote. That's just, I don't know. What is that?
I don't know. I have no idea. If you don't understand it, or there's something you don't, please call Ed, email
Marlene.
it. Oh, I'm not gonna. You can email me. Here's the problem.
She's a woman. Call
here's
if
the
you're
problem.
A woman wanting to
Here's
have
the problem about calling me. You can call me. I'll give you my number right now. But here's the thing.
Email her then.
You don't get me because I'm that busy. 209-482-7821. There, I gave my number.
But now you'll know exactly what she's also called by her grandkids.
My message. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that. That's because a lot of kids.
Also, Vava to my family.
Yeah, well, because that's what the kids all call me, and the kids at church call me that too, because that's what my grandkids call me. So my name is Vava. So anyway, but if you don't understand, really, it is difficult. That's why we have all these people on this show, especially since this redistricting. Right. Don't you think, Ed? It's crazy.
Well, voting in general, they try to make it difficult and hard to understand.
They're successful.
People don't vote, or they play around with the name, just like they do the laws with change a certain way.
Women's Health Act.
Yeah.
Killing babies at 28 days. That's what it's called. It's the Women's Health Act.
Well, that way they can have their medical coverage taken care of.
Gosh.
But again, don't have a uterus. I'm not going to be talking about that. That's your job.
I get to talk about that.
Yeah.
I get to talk about that.
You talked about that.
I did.
Yeah. I know. And that's, and again, I think it's a woman's right, whatever it is.
Well,
I'm just saying on either side, it's their right to make that decision, not a guy or anybody else, or identifying as a woman either.
Why'd you do that in
there? Yeah, Yeah.
Uterus required.
Yes. Or at least it chopped off. One of those two.
Oh.
If that was the case, most of these guys would, or whatever they identify as, wouldn't be running in female sports. if that's a requirement. You have to be fully changed.
Mm.
Anyway, send all that bad email stuff to Marlene.
Radio
at
real estate Jerky. Oh, wow. You went for it.
Well, no, at least I'm not.
Go.
At least I'm not cussing.
Yeah. I know. Well, isn't that stupid though? Here we are in a time when it's terrible to cuss or smoke or what's your other thing, but you can kill babies at random. You can mutilate your body at will. I mean, huh? Yeah. What?
Well, it's funny. I saw, I do a lot of TikTok and other things, and I saw this post on there, and this goth chick, right? And you're like, oh, wow, she is not attractive. They put a makeup on her, did her hair, put her in a nice dress. You're like, holy cow, she's the most beautiful thing in the world, but she makes herself the other way for life. I don't know why. But anyway, you know what that means, right? I got there. They're going to be kicking me off anyway. So we're at the end of our show, the shortest hour of my life each and every week. Thanks for joining us. And thanks to our great guest, Nathan Magsig, candidate for California Congress District 5. You can reach out to Nathan at nathanmagsig.com. That's NATHAN at NATHANMAGISG.com.
SIG.
I went off what was on. What did I say?
Mags. You said ISG.
Oh, I'm sorry. MAGSIG. All right. Just go to our website. You'll find it. And his website is just what I just said. Just take off the Nathan. That's his website. And if you got any questions for me, you can reach out by dialing 209-404-1915. That's 209-404-1915. And lendingforliving.com. You can also email us here at radio@realestatejerky.com. In the weeks ahead, we'll be visiting with candidates for California State Senate District 4 Judge Stephen Bailey, Juan Alanis, candidate for California State Assembly District 22. We're going to have our favorite swimming pool contractors on, Thomas Pools and Spas, so much more. If you missed any of today's show, you can find us via podcast. Don't download the iHeart app on your mobile device or anywhere you enjoy your podcast. You can find us even on Audible. Join us here on Real Estate Jerky, where we always give you something to chew on every Saturday at 12 noon and Sundays at 10 a.m. here on PowerTalk 1360 KFIV. Marlene, thanks for joining me today and putting up with me.
No, thanks for the opportunity. It's wonderful to get to meet people like Nathan Magsig.
All right, my NMLS license number is 23538. Let me do that again. My NMLS license number is 235384. Talk to you next week.
'Cause we got small towns and farmland, folks who still